I am Steven of Redemption Films, and today we're visiting the grave of John K. Lawson. John K. Lawson was a Canadian military officer who served as commander of the West Brigade during the Battle of Hong Kong. A brigadier, he was the most senior officer to be killed in action during the battle and the highest ranking Canadian soldier killed in action in World War II. I'm in Sai Wan War Cemetery in Hong Kong Island, or I can say Hong Kong side, the very eastern part called Sai Wan. This is the grave of John K. Lawson. Lawson was born in Hull, East Riding, Yorkshire. He immigrated to Edmonton in 1914, where he worked as a clerk for the Hudson Bay Company. He enlisted in the Canadian Expeditionary Force, CEF, upon the outbreak of the First World War. He joined the 9th Battalion, CEF, and variously worked at the 1st Canadian Motor Machine Gun Brigade and at 1st Corps headquarters. Although he is often incorrectly attributed a military cross for actions at the Battle of I'm sorry if I pronounced that word wrong, but yes, I'm actually gonna butcher a lot of words. I'm sorry about that. Or the Battle of Battle of Somme. He was twice mentioned in dispatches and received the French Croix de Guerre or whatever. I don't speak French, sorry. Anyway, Lawson joined as a private in 1914 and rose to the rank of warrant officer first class before commissioning. He held the rank of captain at the end of the war. He later joined the permanent active militia during the interwar years. He held various positions in Calgary, Kingston, Toronto, and Ottawa. He completed Staff College in Quetta in 1923 to 1924 and was posted to the War Office in London, England in 1930. When the Second World War broke out, he was director of military training in Ottawa. He was given command of the Royal Rifles of Canada, the Winnipeg Grenadiers, and the other Canadian support units, which arrived in Hong Kong on November 16, 1941, to reinforce the British garrison ahead of the Battle of Hong Kong, which runs from December 8th to December 25th during Christmas in 1941, or you can say Christmas of 1941. He was married to Augusta Hawksworth Wilson in 1930 and had two sons, Arthur John, born in 1934, and Michael Ivan, born in 1936. He sadly died on December 19, 1941. He was killed in action during the battle. So yeah, this is his grave. And he died at age 54. During the Battle of Hong Kong, the force defending Kowloon were withdrawn to the island of Hong Kong on December 11, 1941. General Christopher Maltby organized the defense of the island into two brigades, west and east. Lawson was placed in charge of the West Brigade, which include the Winnipeg Grenadiers, the Royal Scots, and the Punjab Regiment, India, and the Canadian Signalers. The Japanese landed on Hong Kong Island on December 18, 1941, with the intent to split the defenders in two. After furious fighting, Japanese forces surrounded Lawson's headquarters at around 10 a.m. on December 19th. Lawson radioed his commanders that he was going outside to fight it out and left his pillbox with a pistol in each hand. He was killed in an ensuing fight. So he left his pillbox with a pistol in each hand. Well, when the Japanese arrived and found his body, they gave him a military burial nearby in Wang Nai Chong Cap out of respect for his courage. A chaplain was allowed to remove Lawson's silver identification disc bracelet and held on it through 4 years as a Japanese prisoner of war before returning to Lawson's family in Canada. Meanwhile, Hong Kong was relieved only on September 16, 1945, more than a month after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The original headstone was erected by Japanese. It was removed after the war. Lawson was reburied at the Sai Wan War Cemetery after the war. A memorial plate was erected by the Canadian government at the site in 2005. So this is again Sai Wan War Cemetery. So if you want to visit the grave of J.K. Lawson and many more soldiers here, or if you're from Canada or you have a relative that's buried here, you can come to Hong Kong, take the subway. I'm gonna put the map in the video too, and then you take the, I believe it's called the Island Rail or something like that, but it's in the south. So you get off in Chai Wan and then you walk, I believe, like 10 to 20 minutes up the hill. It's kind of far, but it's worth walking. Especially right now, it's not that very hot. It's only around 65, 68 degrees here. So yeah, I mean, you can visit this cemetery if you want to. It's a good cemetery.